Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Among Stouts. If you're new here, my name is Samantha, and in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you this stack of book here, plus a few extra as a bonus. But these are my daughter who is going into the 6th grade, the books that I am assigning for her for reading next year. So she is hands down my biggest reader. All of my kids read what I assign them, but she will read everything that I assign plus some. So she kind of has a little bit of a heavy load this year in what I'm inside so she kind of has a little bit of a heavy load this year in what I am assigning her. But this is just kind of to get her prepped for the amount of reading that she's going to have come the following school year in Challenge A. And because she's such an avid reader and she enjoys it, I know she can do it. So the other stack of books that I'm going to share with you, I initially was only going to share with you guys what I'm assigning my 6th grader, but I also have just a few here that I am assigning to my daughter going into the 4th grade. She's just now really getting into chapter books, so she's just now really getting into chapter books. So I have a few here that I'm going to assign her, with the intention that maybe one or two of them will be a family read aloud, just depending on how reading is going throughout the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on what my 6th grader is going to be reading. All of these books are based around American history. So we are in U.S. history this year with CC. We're in cycle 3 again. And so none of these books are anything that we read our first year. We did lots of picture books for read alouds and different chapter books for read alouds. So none of these were on her list back then. And my son only read a couple of these. So some of them are newer, but she's really excited. Oh, what happened? But she's really excited to read these. So I will show you guys the book and then read the back of it just to give you guys an idea of what the book is about. If maybe you are looking for some readers for any of your kiddos, or you are also doing American history and you want some books to tie into that for read alouds. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first book that I have for her is Behind Rebel Lines. And this is the true story of my 4-year-old is making my baby laugh. So if you hear that and you can't hear me, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stop them. It's too cute. But let's try to get through this. Okay. The true story of a Civil War spy who fooled the rebels and her own troops. In 1861, when war erupted between the states, President Lincoln made an impassioned plea for volunteers. Determined not to remain on the sidelines, Emma Edmonds cropped her hair, donned men's clothing, and enlisted in the Union Army. Everyone, even her fellow soldiers, thought she was a man, but Emma wanted to do more. When she heard a key Union spy had been captured and executed, she volunteered to take his place. Soon, she was a cunning master of disguise, risking discovery and death at every turn. Emma had fooled her own army, but could she keep her secret behind rebel lines? And the majority of these books are actually recommendations from IEW, so a lot of them will pair with certain weeks that she'll be doing IEW, so I'll match that, and the ones that don't, they'll just be extra readers for like Christmas time or whenever she's in between units. So the next book I have for her is Fever 1793. And it says, during the summer of 1793, Maddie Cook lives above the family coffee shop with her widowed mother and grandfather. Maddie spends her days avoiding chores and making plans to turn the family business into the finest Philadelphia has ever seen. But then the fever breaks out. Disease sweeps the streets, destroying everything in its path and turning Maddie's world upside down. At her feverish mother's insistence, Maddie flees the city with her grandfather, but she soon discovers that the sickness is everywhere, and Maddie must learn quickly how to survive in a city turned frantic with disease. And next I have Hattie Big Sky. For most of her life, 16-year-old Hattie Brooks has been shuttled from one distant relative to another. Tired of being Hattie here and there, she summons the courage to leave Iowa and move all by herself to Vida, Montana, to prove up on her late uncle's homestead claim. At least now my letters will be more interesting, she writes to her good friend Charlie, who is fighting in who's fighting the Kaiser in France. Under the big sky, Hattie braves hard weather, hard times, a cantankerous cow, and her own hopeless hand at the cook stove. Her quest to make a home is championed by neighbors. Perley Mueller, her German husband, and their family. For the first time in her life, Hattie feels part of a family, finding the strength to stand up against Trapped Martin's schemes to buy her out and against increasing pressure to be a loyal American at a time when anything or anyone German is suspect. Despite daily trials, Hattie continues to work her uncle's claim until an unforeseen tragedy causes her to search her soul for the real meaning of home. Lovingly stitched together from Kirby Larson's own family, history, and the sights, sounds, and scenes of homesteading life, this young pioneer story celebrates the true spirit of independence. I have Journey to Topaz. It is December 1941. 11-year-old Yuki Sakane's biggest concern is finding the perfect Christmas gift for her parents and her older brother, Ken. Her family is gathering for dinner when they hear the alarming news. Pearl Harbor has been bombed by the Japanese Navy, and America is going to war. Yuki's world is instantly shattered as father is suddenly taken away by the FBI, and rumors of mass evacuation spread throughout the Japanese-American community. Yuki, her mother, and Ken are uprooted from their home and relocated to a horse stall at the Tanforan racetrack, allowed to take with them only what they can carry. Along with 120,000 other West Coast Japanese Americans, they will soon be sent to a prison camp in their case, Topaz, in the isolated Utah desert. As harsh dust storms and poor living conditions become routine, Yuki becomes more determined than ever to prove her loyalty to the United States. But can she feel at home in a country that has put her community behind barbed wire? And will Yuki ever see her father again? I have Cheaper by the Dozen. What do you get when you put together 12 lively kids, a father who is a famous efficiency expert and believes families can run like factories, and a mother who is his partner in everything except discipline? You get a hilarious tale of growing up that has made generations of kids and adults alike laugh along with the Gilbreths. And then I have Give Me Liberty. Life is tough for 13-year-old Nathaniel Dunn, an indentured servant in colonial Virginia. Yet in a twist of luck, he meets Basil, a kind schoolmaster, and an arrangement is struck, lending Nathaniel's labor to a Williamsburg carriage maker. Basil introduces Nathaniel to music, books, and philosophies that open his mind to new attitudes about equality. The year is 1775, and as colonists voice their rage over England's taxation, Patrick Henry's words, "Give me liberty or give me death," become the sounding call for action. Should Nathaniel and Basil join the fight? What is the meaning of liberty in a country relying on indentured servants and slaves? Nathaniel must face the puzzling choices a dawning nation lays before him. I have Gold Rush Girl. There's a gold rush in California, but across the continent in Providence, Rhode Island, life isn't terribly exciting for a girl like Victoria Blaisdell. She's even barred from going to school. Eager to seize control of her own destiny, Tori stows away on the ship carrying her father and younger brother, Jacob, to the mud-caked wild town of San Francisco in pursuit of a new life. But when Jacob is kidnapped, Tori must find him in a treacherous search that will bring her dangerously close to losing everything. I have Dolly Madison and the War of 1812. Dolly Madison faces bitterly divided Washington City when her husband James Madison becomes our fourth president. The prospect of war against Great Britain threatens to tear the fragile American Republic apart. The president, Tess, hosts open parties in the new president's house to unite political foes and cultivate an American identity. When President Madison declares war with disastrous results, Dolly carries on, ignoring the threats against her. However, as British soldiers march toward Washington City, she becomes their target. Now America's second war of independence hinges on her. What must she do to save the United States while also saving herself? The true story of a woman with humble Quaker roots who rallies America during the War of 1812. And lastly, for my sixth grader, I have Susanna's Midnight Ride, the girl who won the Revolutionary War. At 16, Susanna Bowling is like America in rebellion. She craves independence. While her brothers are off fighting for the Patriots, she longs to do more than tedious household chores and attend spinning bees in sleepy City Point, Virginia. When British General Cornwallis invades her family's Bolingbrook plantation, she overhears his secret plan to defeat the Patriots. Much to her shock, she finds herself at the center of the war. Now America's fight for liberty hinges on her, but can she overcome her mother's objections, face her own fears, and outwit the famed general and his entire army? This is the true story of revolutionary courage and conviction that's sure to captivate readers of all ages. So those are all of the assigned readers for my 6th grader. I think she has more than enough to get her through the school year. But knowing how she is with a couple of those that are pretty exciting, she will probably get through them very quickly. So I will make sure to have on hand, like we have tons of books that she will also read on her own in her own time. But she usually, whenever I assign her something, she'll read it for a minimum of 20 minutes per school day. And then if it's a book that she doesn't like, she'll set it down and she'll go grab something else that she actually wants to read, and then she'll read that. But she always has to read her assigned readers first. If she does like the book, then she'll just read it likely in a day or two. So I think I have some good ones for her that she will enjoy reading. And so for my daughter going into the 4th grade, I'm really excited about these chapter books that she has. And like I said, some of these she'll read on her own, and depending on the length that it's taking her, we might do some of them as a read aloud as well. So the first one that she has is A Lion to Guard Us. And this says, Amanda Freebold had to grow up very fast. 3 years ago, her father left for the new colony of Jamestown in America, thousands of miles away, leaving his family behind. After the death of their mother, Amanda finds herself in charge of her 2 young siblings and no one to turn to for help. With so much on her shoulders, Amanda makes a decision. They will cross the ocean to find their father at Jamestown all by themselves. The ocean crossing is long and hard, and the children don't know whom to trust. Through fearsome storms and unexpected detours, they keep a tight hold of the little brass lion's head their father left with them to guard them from danger. With their little lion in hand and each other to rely on, Amanda and her siblings journey to a new world where they hope to find their home. Then she has Ben and Me, An Astonishing Life of Benjamin Franklin by his good mouse Amos. Ever wonder where inventors get their ideas? As it turns out, the great inventor Benjamin Franklin got his best ideas from a mouse named Amos. Funny, interesting, and wise, this classic tale has been a favorite for generations. Once you've met Amos and read his account, you'll never think of Ben Franklin or American history in quite the same way. I have Tolliver's Secret. Ellen Tolliver is shocked to learn that her grandfather is a Patriot spy. Then he's injured on the day of an important mission, and she's the only one who can take his place. It's the last thing shy, timid Ellen wants to do, but her grandfather and her country are depending on her. It seems simple. Take a boat across New York Harbor and deliver a loaf of bread with a secret message for General Washington baked inside. Disguised as a boy, Ellen finds courage she never dreamed she had. But things don't go as planned. First, Ellen finds herself on a boat full of British soldiers, and then she lands at the wrong town. As she faces each obstacle on her journey, Ellen wonders, will she ever get her message through, and will she ever see her family again? And then we have Knight's Journey. The year is 1768. In 8 years, the American Revolution will begin. Newly orphaned Peter York has been adopted by a deeply religious Quaker family. Peter chafes under his new guardian's strict and unyielding views and vows to break away. He sees his chance when 2 runaway indentured servants are reported to be fleeing through his community. If he catches one, there will be a reward and freedom. But capturing the runaways leads to consequences and choices Peter cannot foresee. And last but not least, she has Mr. Lincoln's Drummer. 10-year-old Willie Johnson is too young to be a soldier in Mr. Lincoln's army, so he joins as a drummer boy instead. Part of Willie's job is rousing the troops in the morning with his drum. The other part is being the last to retreat in battles. In this true story, Willie shows he's brave enough to keep beating his drum, but will he be lucky enough to survive the war? And that's all of the books that I have for my daughter going into 4th grade. So I hope that you guys saw some books in here for either your 6th graders, your 4th graders, or anywhere in between that you would be interested in purchasing for your kiddos. I hope that reading the back of those books gives you a pretty good idea of what they're about. Maybe you hadn't thought of buying any of these, and this has been helpful for you to decide on some books to get. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe. I would love to have you here as a part of my community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!